Right. Okay, right, let me share my screen. There we are. That's an obvious place too, which is great. Share screen. Let's go with that one and see if that works. Let's go for a slideshow. Okay, right, this is where I hate dual screening because I don't know what you can see. Let's go, slideshow, on beginning. There we go. Can you see the start of the presentation?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I can't see you all. I can see a few of you on the right-hand side there, but I might move you along because sometimes you get a bit in the way when I'm when I'm sharing my screen. Okie doke. So this is what you're all here for, Sahara Desert Trek, and you've got the added bonus of the community project, which is an amazing project, and I'll go through that a little bit more with you in a few short slides away. Okay, so you're departing on 9th of March, which happens to be my birthday. So happy birthday to me, but I'm not coming with you. Not this time. There we go. So what we'll cover this evening is where you are going, preparing for your departure, the itinerary, and any questions. If you've got your mic on, if I could ask you just to switch them off, because that will help to mitigate any background noise that we've got. And then if we can ask questions at the end, unless you've got a burning question as we're going through and you think you might forget, then just you might have to shout at me because I might not see any hands going off or anything. So but if we can get questions at the end, then I'll be able to see you all, and it'll be much better for me to answer them for you. Okay, and that's one of us. So that will be what your scene will look like. It always stuns people because they're not expecting to see trees out in a desert, but you will see trees in a desert. And at times they will give you some much welcome shade as well to help you cool down because it can get quite hot. Okay, so just get the formality bit out of the way first. So our health and safety assurance. So we never operate a trip where we know there's a known risk. We work closely with the British Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO for short. It's such a mouthful. And we are in regular contact with them. So they always let us know if there's any advice that we need to take heed of if we're traveling when we're traveling to another country. At the moment, it's very safe to travel to Morocco. There are no dangers. Obviously, we had the earthquake, but that's all fine now. Everything's pretty much all cleared up from there anyway. So, but yeah, if anything was to happen, we would keep you well informed, and we'd let you know if there was any clear present risk, but we're really not expecting anything. Okay. So your tour manager, Julie. So Julie is on the call. I'll ask her to pop on in just a moment. So Julie's role is to liaise with you and the local guides, and she'll help to ensure the safe, smooth, and efficient running of the trip. So it'll help enable you to have the best and most enjoyable time that you can have. She will work with the local guides and staff, and they will provide detailed local information and insight into the culture that you'll experience. Julie has travelled extensively on many of our own challenges and travels of her own, and she's looking forward to sharing the experience with you. Julie, did you want to pop on and say hello?
Yeah, I can say hello. Yeah, very very excited to meet you all in person and to share what's going to be an absolute excellent trip, I'm sure.
Perfect. Thanks, Julie. So, travelling to Morocco. So, a little interactive map we've got going on here. So, you fly to Marrakesh to start with. There we go. And then we'll make our way to Ouarzazate. So you'll do that on a Saturday afternoon. So when you've landed, you'll then start the journey to Ouarzazate. So it's about a 4 or 5 hour journey there. You'll stay there overnight. And then the next day you'll head off out into the desert. We've pinpointed there the highest dune in Morocco. For some reason, our Google automatically takes us there. Can't actually tell if that is the highest dune in Morocco because Morocco, the desert changes all the time with the winds and all the climate factors and everything anyway. So that highest dune that might be there at the moment might not be there when we get there. So that just shows you a bit of what your terrain is going to be like, obviously from the air. We'll just let that run a little bit more. There we go. Let's move on. Okie doke. So here, if you can see my cursor or not, so we'll land into Marrakesh, and then we're going to drive on our coach. It might be a couple of coaches. There's quite there's a few, about 15, I think, of you, I believe. So you might have two transports, and then you'll drive through the high Atlas Mountains, and then here you'll stop at Ouarzazate. So you'll stop there overnight, and then the following morning you'll head on through the low Atlas Mountains, and then you'll come down to Tajounite, and your trek area is where the blue star is on the bottom right-hand side of the screen there. Okay, so next important piece of information for you. There's some of you we are missing travel information for. It's your insurance, so we do need to make sure we've got that before you fly out. So we can send you a link to, we recommend Campbell Irvine Direct. Many of our travelers go through them, and many challenge companies use these as well. They cover everything that we need of them. They're very well used to the treks that we do. You just need to make sure that trekking is covered. So some of you may well have bank accounts that will cover your travel insurance. You must check that you got travel, that trekking is covered for that. But you don't need it at altitudes, because although you'll be driving through altitudes just for 2 minutes, if that, you're not actually going to be trekking at altitude. So you don't have to have altitudes covered, but you must have trekking. Okay. If any of your details have changed, you now cannot do that online. You must let us know by emailing us in the office, whether that's your own contact details have changed, if your next of kin's changed, any dietary requirements, if you're suddenly gone gluten-free or you're lactose intolerant. It's important we know that as far ahead in advance as we possibly can, because then we can make sure that you're well catered for. Okay. So all these details can be updated. Ignore that bit about the online profile. This is the standard slide that we use. Email bookings@differenttravel.com. And some of you may well have had some chats with Liv already about your own accounts. Okay. Vaccinations and health. So there's no longer a requirement for a PCR test or vaccination certificate to enter Morocco. Up until last year, we had to download a passenger locator form and fill in loads of details. Thankfully, we no longer need that because it's such a pain. So we don't need that anymore. You're not required to have any other vaccines to enter Morocco, but please make sure that your regular travel boosters are up to date. So your diphtheria, polio, tetanus, make sure they're up to date. Visit your own GP in advance, because obviously we don't know all your health details. So just check with your GP or your travel clinic with your medical records, and they will give you some advice on whether you might need anything extra. Okay. Please bring a small first aid kit with you, more importantly with blister plasters in, and have plenty of blister plasters. It may well be that if you're traveling as a friendship group, you might want to split those between you rather than each taking 20 blister plasters each. It can be worth it if you're going with a friendship group. Just work out which what each of you are going to take. And we're happy to give you some more advice on what to have in your first aid kits. And you'll also have it in your trip dossier and kit list anyway. British citizens, we don't need a visa entry to get into Morocco. It may differ for other nationalities, but I think we're all British that are travelling on this trip. But your passport must have 6 months of validity. Okay, so just make sure that's okay. I think it would have been flagged up to us if anybody was in within that timeline, so we'd contact you if that was going to be the case. But I'm sure you all know your own passports anyway. Okay. Money and expenses. So at the time of writing, there were 12.6 Moroccan dirham to the pound. It is possible to buy it in the UK. Not many places do it, but I would really recommend not buying it, but purchase it when you land in Morocco. It's a much better exchange rate when you buy it in Morocco. It's a very bad exchange rate over here. So you recommended to withdraw cash from an ATM. There's also the Bureau de Change at the in Morocco at Marrakesh Airport as well, so you can change there. You're recommended to take sterling and no Scottish notes. And if you can, it can be quite difficult. Try to get low denomination notes as well, especially when it comes to tipping and buying something like a small purchase, like a bottle of water or something. Okay. So your expenses will include drinks, possibly souvenirs if you're taking some stuff back for friends and family. Tips, we say to allow approximately £40 per person, and it's useful to have that before you go into the desert because that's when most of the tips will be divided up. So to try to make sure you have that with you, and Julie will go through that with you when you land as well anyway. We think £150 should suffice because you've got the community projects as well. You are going to be there for an extra couple of days, which is more than our standard trip to the Sahara. So you might want that little bit extra. There are plenty of ATMs in Marrakesh itself anyway. So if you do find yourself running short when you return after the desert, there's always opportunity to get some more out. Okay. And funny enough, there are no ATMs near the desert. Can't imagine why. Not many shops around there. So make sure you've got enough money when you're traveling to Ouarzazate so you've got something to cover you in that journey into the desert there. Ideal for tips, souvenirs, snacks en route as well, because you can get quite hungry. It'll be quite hot. So you might want some additional drinks as well. And also we will stop on way to buy a shesh, and I'll show you one of those in a little while, which are really useful for wrapping around your head and help to keep your head nice and cool and that heat away as well. So, but I'll show you one of those. Just to note as well, if you do have spare dirhams to change back at the end of the trip, you should exchange these before going through security in the airport, as there are no bureau de change after that point. You can spend some of it after that, but you can't exchange it if that's what you'd like to do. You'll also be reminded about this during a trip as well. What to pack clothes. Now, everybody always overpacks clothes. There really is no need to. If you used to go to the gym and you've got gym gear, we recommend that's the sort of type of outfit that you'd probably want to wear. And you can really wear one outfit just one outfit all through the whole trip. So have one outfit to wear and have a full backup outfit for the evening just to change into. If you want to pack an additional t-shirt and an extra pair of trousers, absolutely fine. But you're not going to need 5 t-shirts and 5 pairs of trousers. It's just you've got to carry it. The camels have got to carry it. You don't need it. So one to wear, one to spare. You might want to have another one to spare anyway, just for the project. So non-cotton items can be worn for days and they don't get smelly, and they really can be worn for days. I've been out to the Sahara a couple of times now, and I do wear the same outfit, and it does smell nice and fresh still, so you don't need to worry about any smelly stuff. So non-cotton items, so things like polyester, polypropylene, nylon, merino wool, they wick the sweat away from your body and force it to evaporate, so it keeps you and your clothes nice and dry. So as a general rule, most people will be comfortable in a t-shirt or a lightweight shirt and lightweight trekking trousers or leggings. Long sleeves will help to protect you from the sun as well. March, it can be quite hot. Last year, because of the earthquake, it did alter the weather patterns as well. So actually, when we went over in October and November, the weather was a lot warmer than we had actually anticipated. So just be prepared. If you can take a long sleeve shirt just to cover yourself, that will be a lot better for you. Just a note as well, you were likely to, a normal route, we passed through a small village. And so ladies, you'll need to cover your shoulders, bare legs when walking through, especially if you've got shorty shorts on, you'll need to see something just to wrap around yourself. But yeah, it's best to cover your shoulders over. But your guides will also advise you as well. Okay. It can get cold at night, so you should bring a fleece or warm layers and a warm hat. And I say it can get cold at night. So last year, as I've just said, the earthquake, it did shift weather patterns slightly. So it was a lot warmer at night than we anticipated. We don't know what it's going to be like. It may well be it is going to be really warm again, but I would always advise just to take a fleece, a warm layer and a warm hat, just in case it does drop down quite cool. Okay. Flip-flops and sandals for the evenings are absolutely fine, and you can wear your backup outfit for the evenings too. Okay. So what to pack clothes and accessories continues. So a cobber, a neck cording map. I don't have one of these to hand at the moment, but they're a really useful little tool. You can get them from Amazon, other outdoor stores. And what you do is you soak it in water for about 30 minutes, and all the little beads inside, they will swell. And you wrap it around your neck, and it really does help to keep your neck cool. It's well worth getting one of those if you can. You can also get the cooling towels as well, which they pretty much do the same sort of thing. But I personally, I find the cobber a lot better. It's a lot thicker, whereas the towel can dry out a bit quicker. But there's plenty of time, there's plenty of like opportunity to re-soak your towel as well. Anyway, so it's very useful because having something around your neck and actually even to wrap around your wrists as well can really help to keep your body temperature down slightly because it can get quite hot while you're doing that trekking. If any of you suffer from like pressure and sort of bad knees or weak knees, walking poles will be really helpful for you because that will help to relieve that pressure on your knees as well. Especially going sort of like going up a dune might not be so bad, but actually coming down a dune, you're like what hill walking really. Going up is a lot easier than actually on your knees sometimes than coming down them. So just a bit of support if you find that you do have weak knees. If you're going to use walking poles, I'd advise buying them beforehand and then training with them before so you get used to how they feel. Okay. Another item is a buff. I do have one here if you don't know what one looks like. So buff, it's a multifunctional headwear. So they're like a neck tube, so they come sort of like that. And I'm not going to put one on because I mess up my hair and everything, and I'm very vain. But you can like wrap them around. You can tie your hair up with them. Like my hair's a bit too short, really, but yeah, you can wrap them around your wrists. You can do all sorts of things, wrap them all over your head, help to keep the sun off your head as well. So, but they're very useful. Shesh, which is also a great souvenir. Obviously, I have one in purple. And this is what they will look like. So it's like a scarf, really. You can see that very well. But yeah, I've got a few of these in different colours now. And they will actually, when you stop it, there's a shop that it's a specific shop that we stop off every time we go into the desert. And they have loads of tourists and visitors there. They're so used to selling their sheshes there. And they will actually show you, they'll fit it for you, and they'll show you how to actually wear it as well. So yeah, it's very useful to have. Can't remember how much they were actually. I think it varies depending on what group goes in.
About
Um,
£5 or £7, Ali.
yeah, something like that.
That
I
sort of
can't
figure.
relate to what that is in dirhams. I think it's supposed to be about 30 dirhams, I think it was. It does say it does
Can't remember.
depend. Yeah,
But it's not a lot.
it's not a lot of money at all, no. Very important as well if you like to keep in contact, especially if you want to take pictures as well, because you may want to take lots of pictures. A portable battery pack or solar charger. You can get loads on Amazon. You can get some really good, decent ones. Um, it says in our trip dossier the actual the maximum capacity you can have, which I think it's 20,000 megahertz. I think it is. Anything over and above that, the airline can get a bit funny, so just be careful. It isn't a trip dossier what the maximum is megahertz. I think it's about 20,000. And that will last you for a good 4 or 5 days, so plenty of time that you're going to need from the desert. So most packs now you can get 3 or 4 decent charges to your phone with them. A head torch as well, very important for when you're going to the toilet in the middle of the night because it will be pitch black. The stars, there will be thousands of stars in the sky, but they won't give you much light. Funny enough, there's no street lamps in the desert either. So it will be pitch black. As soon as the sun goes down, there is no other light. You might have a nice moon, but it will, once the sun goes down, it is very dark very quickly. Boots. Okay, so hopefully you've already got your boots and they're starting to be well worn in. If you haven't got them, please get them this weekend. Don't delay any longer, really, because you do need to train in them and make sure they're right for your feet. I have I have this pair. Oh, a bit dirty. I went out for a walk on full of sands at the moment because I went to the beach at the weekend or 2 weekends ago. So I have Merrell is my choice, but you can get many different brands out there. Um, it's advisable to go into a outdoor store just to try them on. because everybody's got different shaped feet, so different shaped feet, different types of boots. I've got wide toes as well, so I have to have a bigger toe box with my boots. So it's well worth going in to try some boots, and then it may well be you can get them cheaper online. So yeah, try them in a shop and then buy them online if you think you might be able to get them a bit cheaper. But hopefully you've got your boots by now anyway. They do need ankle support. Look out for boots with a Vibram sole. They've got a great tread and they're longer lasting as well. And then consider gaiters as well to keep the sand out of your boots. I think I've got one here to show you. If you're not sure what a gaiter looks like. So I've got mine from Mountain Warehouse, very reasonable to buy. I think about 12, £13, I think. So this is just a short one. So it just covers over the top of your boots. And it really does help to keep the sand out of your boots. And then the less sand you've got in your boots, the less chance you've got of getting a blister, because those are the things that you'll really need to watch out for when you're out there trekking in the desert. The sand and the rub against your feet can do a bit of damage when it comes to blisters. So I just need to watch out for that. Okay. Socks are also really important. So socks and your boots are probably really the two key important parts of the kit that you need. So if your feet are comfortable, then that's all you need really. Again, non-cotton, really important because the cotton will absorb the sweat, and obviously damp socks will rub and that will help to cause blisters as well. So check the labels on the packaging. Some will say there's a bit of cotton in there, but cotton free completely. I can't really recommend that highly enough. Good brands include Bridgedale, Smartwool, Brasher, 1,000 Mile socks as well. As I said, always check the label to ensure they don't contain any cotton. So material should be like polyester, nylon, Cool Max, merino wool. Merino is a very, very good fabric. And then choose a lightweight sock as well. You don't want a winter sock. It'll be a summer sock that you'll need, okay? And I know that I sort of like said like one outfit per day, but socks, make sure you've got a clean pair for every day and then a spare pair as well, just in case. So your luggage allowance. So you've got one checked bag of 23 kilogram. That is actually plenty. That is a lot of that is quite a lot of weight. From the experience of some passengers that we've had already on other trips, it's always worth checking the weight of your suitcase as well, because the added weight of your suitcase will really help to push your weight limit up. So you can get lightweight suitcases now. So if you can and you've got time and you've got the budget, it's worth getting a lighter weight suitcase that will still carry you up to that mark, because the suitcases can weigh quite a lot. You also get a small cabin bag, which is a maximum size of 45 by 36 by 20 and must be able to fit under the seat in front of you. That bag won't be the right size for your day bag that you'll need. Okay, so it will be smaller than what you're going to need as your day bag. So unfortunately, you would need a separate bag. Your trek luggage will be carried by the camels. So it should be packed in a soft bag or hold all and must weigh no more than 8 kilograms. So practice packing that with your sleeping bag in. It's your sleeping bag that's actually going to take up the most space and the most weight for this bag. The type of bag that I use is just something like that, like a sports hold or just like that sort of thing. That will do you. Okay. I can get my sleeping bag in there and then other kit that I need that the camel will be carrying. So they'll be carrying things like your thermals for your sleepwear, your wash kit, your spare outfit, and any extra snacks that you've got as well. Okay, so they'll carry that sort of thing for you. The suitcase is not suitable to carry for the camels to take. Okay, so it has to be soft-sided like the one I've just shown you. You will carry a day packs of between 25 to 35 litres. So this will contain your water, your camera, sunscreen, snacks. And your day pack must have a hip belt and chest strap. And I've got one of those too, surprise, surprise. So of course mine's purple. So this is what my one looks like. Okay, and then we've got the waist strap there, and we've got the chest. There is a chest bit there as well. It's all fully adjustable. This is, and I'm not suggesting you go and get one of these. But this is an Osprey Tempest 30, very comfortable and great for the female body as well. Um, Again, if you've not got one of those already, it's worth going into sports outdoor stores and trying them on for size as well. Okay, a lot of them are adjustable, so you can adjust the height at the back. Um, and then check for pockets as well. But as long as they've got the chest strap and they've got the waist strap, because a lot of the weight you'll carry on your hips. If you're unsure of how to wear your backpack, Julia would be more than happy to help fit that for you and make sure that you're carrying it okay. So the last thing you want is aching back where you haven't quite got your backpack fitted properly. Okay. Yes, so any luggages or suitcases that you're not required for the trek, they can be left securely at the hotel in Ouarzazate, and you'll be reunited with that when you return there after when you leave the desert. So things like your project clothes, your travel clothes, your clothes for Marrakesh when you go to the project and the evening, they can all be stored at the hotel, so you won't have to take those with you into the desert. Okay. So there's an example of the rucksacks or what not to have. So just the plain straps there, not advisable because it'll be too much strain on your back and you need to be really comfortable carry everything on your hips. Okay, so yeah, hip belt and chest straps, so they're really supportive and also compatible with a Camelback water filter as well. Okay, so climate and conditions. So as you can imagine, this is the desert that we're going into. Temperatures can range from 25 to 35. It can get hotter than that. So we did experience that last year as well, and drop to around 0 degrees at night. However, you must be prepared. Be prepared for variations to this, which are out of our control. As I said last year, when I went, it was October I went, and we was expecting cold evenings. And the previous treks that I've been on, I've slept in my sleeping bag. I've always had my thermals on. I've even had a woolly hat on when I slept outside. October was the first time I just slept in my sleeping bag liner. Didn't need a sleeping bag, and I didn't really need to wear anything else because it really was that warm. However, we can't say it's going to be like that in March, so it's best to make sure that you're prepared and be over prepared than under prepared. Okay, it might be that you'll take some of this stuff and you might not use it, but that's easy to not use it than rather than actually wish that you did have it and you haven't got it with you. So please make sure that you take everything that we suggest that you take. And if it's excess, then it's excess. It doesn't matter. But at least you've got it there should it be needed. You will need high factor sunscreen, 30 plus. I wear 50 purely because I burn. I'm not one of these lucky people who'll get a nice suntan when I've been out in the sun, unfortunately. Sun hat with a brim, if you've got one, or say the shesh as well will really help as well. I've got one of those like Australian hat ones. Might put some cork on at some point, but yes, something with a brim as well. But a shesh will be really good as long as you've got something to keep that heat off your head. Okay. Some people have taken an umbrella or parasol with them on the trip as well. Okay, so that's not unknown. Weather during a trek will be dry, but there may be some strong winds. I have encountered a sandstorm before, my very first time 6 years ago. Amazing experience. It really is, watching it from the coach as we were driving in. Absolutely amazing experience. Wouldn't recommend being in one. But yeah, if you can see one from afar, it really is great. You can get smaller ones as well. But anyway, so there may be some strong winds. Rain, although very rare, is not impossible. Okay. And one of our treks that went out, it was the week after I came back. They actually went into the desert and arrived into rain. We've never had that before. It was a torrential downpour, and they had to buy some raincoats on route. So there weren't quite enough raincoats to go around everybody because the shops aren't used to it either. So yeah, although rain, it's very rare, it's not unheard of, and we had it for the first time last year. So that was a bit of an experience for our tour manager and the people she was traveling with. Okay, so it's not impossible. And nights could be approximately 0 to 7 degrees Celsius. It could be a bit warmer, but like I say, please make sure you're prepared just on the lower end, just in case. Okay. So this is so this was last October when my colleague arrived into the desert. That was the scene that greeted her, and it got quite windy and very rainy there, so they had to cover all the kids over. So yeah, so it's not unheard of, but very, very rare. Oh, oh, there you go. It's a video. I didn't realise. There you go. Rescuing a tent. So there you go. Oh, oh gosh, how do I go on? There we go. I think that was it. Yes, accommodation. Yes, so you will spend 4 nights in hotels and 3 nights camping in a tent or under the stars. Sleeping under the stars, I would highly recommend. It is such a sight to see. You might not want to spend all night out under there, but if you can spend as much of it out there as you can, I would really recommend it. Um, Watching the shooting stars, it's just an amazing sight to see, and so many stars in the sky. You will need to bring a sleeping bag, and a sleeping bag liner we would advise, but a tent and compressed foam sleeping bag will be provided for camping. These foam mats, they are quite thin, but they do the job of protecting you from the ground. These foam mats, they are not only used for sleeping, but you'll also use them in the mess tent when you're eating as well. They'll be dotted around on the outside of the mess tent, or on the inside of the mess tent, but around on the edge. So you'll use those for sitting on, and then you'll be given a sheet to cover over for sleeping at night. Okay, but they are quite thin mats, but they do the job. It's a sleeping bag. So your sleeping bag must have a comfort rating of 0 degrees. We should note a sleeping bag comfort rating, it's not the same as an extreme rating. So an extreme rating, 0 sleeping bag will not be suitable. An extreme rating means that you've just got something to cover you up with. It wouldn't protect you. With a comfort rating, it's a race that makes you comfortable enough at night to be able to sleep. So a 0 degree one. You can get them cheap enough from Mountain Warehouse. There are other places as well. But yeah, there's quite a variety out there. Amazon will do them as well. Okay, you don't have to spend a huge fortune on a sleeping bag, but just make sure it's got a comfort rating of 0 degrees. So tents. So there'll be 3 men tents and they're provided for 2 people to share. So they'll be big enough for you. As I said, the camping mats are provided, and you can actually see there on the left-hand side, that's how thin the camping mats are. But like I say, they do the job of protecting you. Okay. And as I said, you may prefer to sleep out under the stars on the mattress, and it is highly recommended. However, also bring earplugs. There may be some people among the group who are a snorer. So yeah, just bring some earplugs just to help you get a bit more of a peaceful night's sleep. There you go, the Saharan night sky. Quite a good picture, that one. Okay, so this is the hotel that you're staying on your first night in Ouarzazate, the Hotel Les Jardins. So it's got a pool as well. You might not have time to use the pool, but it's worth taking swimwear with you as well anyway, because you will have a pool at the hotel in Marrakesh. And these are your rooms as well. They're quite basic in here, but they're very comfortable as well. It's a really lovely hotel. We use that one pretty much all the time that we head out there. This is the Hotel Al Andalus in Marrakesh. This is a really lovely hotel. It's got a really nice pool. You can see down on the right-hand side here. Bar area as well. The bar's just on the right-hand side there. Lots of rooms. Continental style breakfast. It's like a buffet style of an evening. So it can be quite samey, but there'll be one night when you'll go out for a celebration meal anyway, so you won't have that all the time, and you may prefer just to eat out anyway. Excuse me, but that's gives you an idea on the top right hand side what the dining room looks like, and then the rooms on the left hand side here, they're really comfortable. They're very spacious rooms actually, and a lot where you'll either overlook the pool or you'll overlook the main road at the front of the hotel there. But it's got like a small sort of balcony area as well. I think most rooms have, but it's a really lovely hotel. So your meals. So your meals on a trek will be prepared by a local cook who will travel with you. They won't walk with you during a trek. They'll go on ahead and set up for lunchtime or for the evening camp. But it'll be the same cook throughout the journey with you. All the meals will be healthy, nourishing, filling, and very tasty, and also not too spicy. If you like a bit of spice, it might be worth bringing something a little extra with you. And I've got a colleague who likes chili, and so she'd like extra chili on, on her journey. But there is always plenty of food as well. Lots of salads on those plates there. All water that's used for cooking and consumption will be boiled. Excuse me. Bottled mineral water will be provided for you on a trek. It's important to note, do not drink tap water, not even for brushing your teeth, because it can make you quite poorly. So use your bottled water for brushing your teeth, even when you're at the hotel as well. Okay. You will get supplies with a bottle of water when you land in Marrakesh. But there's plenty of opportunity to fill those bottles up as well, and you'll have your own bottles with you to fill up, or a camelback system as well. Okay, as an example there. So the top left-hand side there, that's baking bread in the sand, if there's the opportunity to do that. Not always an opportunity, it depends on the weather. But if you can see that, that's an amazing experience. And then on top right-hand side here, you're eating, I think that's probably breakfast maybe. And then on the middle right-hand side, gives you an idea of the main evening meal. Lunchtime meal on the bottom right-hand side. And then just down on the bottom here as well, some alternatives. That's wondered. For some reason I thought I skipped this one, but we haven't. So your water bottle. So if you're used to using a hydration system, a Camelback or Platypus is recommended because you'll fill that up and you can sip it on the go. When you're out trekking, it's important to sip rather than gulp, so keep sipping regularly at regular intervals. Personally, I find if you gulp as well anyway, it just makes sure it goes a little bit quicker. So if you're sipping, it just helps to regulate yourself. Always test it in advance to make sure there's no breakages. Make sure that you're used to using it. It doesn't give you any problems. Check your water level at rest stops so you can monitor your intake as well, and you can always top up when you're resting. And as I said, small sips are better than large glugs. It's also best as well to bring a backup bottle, a 1 litre backup bottle if you can, just in case you have problems with your Camelback, so that at least you've still got something that you can drink from. So probably like a metal or an insulated bottle is probably quite good, because that will help keep the water cool, rather than anything plastic where that's going to heat your water up. And there's nothing worse than warm water drinking when you're already feeling hot anyway. But yeah, something that will help to keep the water cool. It's worth considering bringing electrolyte tablets as well, because that will help replace any of the lost salt that you've lost through sweating and through your drinking anyway. So it helps to add a bit of additional flavour as well. I always say I'd recommend, if you're going to use tablets like these, to put them into your water bottle rather than your Camelback, because what's the word I'm looking for? It can break down your hydration system quicker than if you using a bottle. So have your electrolyte tablets in a water bottle is what I find a bit much easier, because it's much easier. The Platypus can break down and not last you quite so long for future treks. Bathroom facilities, always a talking point on these trips when we're in the Sahara. That is the toilet on the right hand side there. We do have permission to use this photo. This was taken last year, but that is what your toilet will look like. And on the bottom left hand side here, that's a hole. So you'll be doing your business in the hole in the ground, okay? So as you can see, a tent will be erected to cover the holes that were dug into the sand. You'll probably have two, I would think. You'll have two tents, two toilet tents on your trip. They are located away from the main camping areas. It's not going to be stuck slap bang in the middle of your camping area. It will be on the outside there. So toilet etiquette, you might discover this quite quickly, but as you approach the toilet, just shout out, hello, anyone in there? Or something similar, just to make sure there's nobody in there as you're approaching. You can't always close the zipper down on the tents. Bring your own toilet paper as well. That won't be provided for you out there, so make sure you've got at least one roll with you. There will be no, excuse me, no running water either, so make sure you've got some hand sanitizer. Bring baby wipes to freshen up at camp each evening. Shower, there won't be any showers. And then in Marrakesh, Ouarzazate, and at public toilets, put toilet paper in the bin provided and not down the toilet. I think that's quite a lot in most places when you go on holidays now. So yeah, bring your own toilet paper. And that's what your toilet will look like. That's the main takeaway from that one.
Ali, can I interrupt
Yeah, of course you
briefly?
can.
On the subject of toileting, papers need to go into a bag, not down the hole. It's only human waste that goes down the hole. So you have to take like dog bags or poo bags or nappy sack bags in order to put your paper in it.
Thank you, Julie. Yes, good point. And when you've done your business as well, there'll be like piles of sand on the side there. So you just kick some sand over, and that'll help to keep the smell away as well. So it is actually good. It does work. Okay, but they can get filled up quite quickly. So but Julie, bless her, will monitor the situation, and if we need to dig a hole, a bigger hole, a deeper hole built, then she'll encourage that from the guides. Okay. So camels and creatures. The camels are your porters and they will become a part of your experience. They are amazing creatures. Um, Now, I always try to get this out there because I don't like people being shocked when they get out there and see that a camel might be tied up. They might have their two front legs tied together, or one of their front legs it might be sort of tied up behind them. I don't want that to come as a shock to you because it can be if you're not forewarned and you think it's cruel. We will always think it's cruel because that's the nature of us in the UK. They are working animals, and as much as I hate to say it, they are used to working like that. So sometimes they will be allowed some freedom as well. It would depend on the camel handlers and actually how the camels are themselves. The trip I was on last year, that actually they had a lot of freedom and they were rarely tied up. But don't be shocked if you do see that their two front legs they're tied up so that they walk at shorter spaces. But that's only when they're in camp. Obviously, when they're working and they're taking the stuff to your next campsite or to your lunch spot, then they do walk normally. Okay, so it is only when they're in camp that you might see that. But I just like to be open and upfront about that in advance so that you're not shocked by it when you get out there. Okay. You may well see some smaller creatures out there, snakes, scorpions, spiders, desert foxes, not unheard of. Um, but they will be more scared of you than you are of them. One of our group did see a snake last year, but it soon went away. Little bugs can always be seen on the dunes as well. So, but yeah, it's they're nothing to be scared of or anything. They won't come into the tents. They won't worry you at night. You'll be absolutely fine. I say they're more scared of you than you are of them. So they'll soon scatter and run away if they see you coming towards them. Okay, so training, I think we touched on this before we started the meeting. So please don't underestimate the importance of training. There is more to this trek than just sand. And the terrain will vary. There'll be another picture in a moment to show you some different types of terrain that you'll see that you'll be coming across. The more training you do, the more familiar your body will be in recovery after a long day's trek, so you can start each day rested and prepared. So hopefully by now you're out walking regularly anyway. Other activities which can complement will include running, cycling, gym workouts, boot camps. So it's really important to build up your core and leg muscle strength. So exercises such as squats, lunges, push-ups, planks, they will really help to enhance your training. So obviously get out there and do some walking. If you can do back-to-back long walks over weekends, then that would be ideal. But do concentrate on your core and legs because that's what's going to be getting you through each day anyway. So good core and leg muscle strength are really important, and as well as those miles in your feet as well. Okay, so the itinerary, the exciting bit. Okay, so as you know, you're leaving on the 9th of March, and your flight's at 9:05. And you're landing to Marrakesh at 1:45 in the afternoon. So you'll meet Julie nice and early. Sorry, team. So you'll meet her at 6:35 at the EasyJet baggage drop area in North Terminal at Gatwick. It's you won't be able to miss, so it's a fairly smallish place anyway. Yeah, you'll see Julie quite easily. We do ask that you don't drop your bags off before you've seen Julie. We prefer everybody to do that as a group. So then Julie will know that everybody's gone through and she doesn't need to start panicking that anybody's left behind. And then you'll go through security. And then at that point, you can disband. You can stay as a group if you want to, or you can disband, do your own thing, because you'll probably have a good couple of hours before you're allowed to board the plane. Okay, and then just keep a note of the boarding gate that comes up. It may well be, I don't know if you've got one. I don't know if we've set one new one up actually, a WhatsApp group yet. Have we done that, Julie? No. If you'd like that, we can organise a WhatsApp group for you all as well, so we can get that set up. I'll ping you an email in the morning about that. And then, yeah, you could just ping each other a message when you're there. If anybody spots the boarding gate number, you can just ping it in the WhatsApp group so everybody knows. If you could wait at the boarding gate before you go through into that bit there where you're waiting, then Julie can make sure she's got everybody ticked off and you know that everybody's together before you then board the plane. Okay. So you'll arrive in Marrakesh. It can take between 1.5 hours, can be a little bit longer depending on how many people have landed at the same time. So getting through customs can take a bit of time. But once you've done that and you've met your guides and you've packed all your luggage into the transport, then you'll then set off to Ouarzazate. So you'll go through the High Atlas Mountains. It's about a 4 to 5 hour journey time. There's some roadworks going on at the moment, and they have been for about 2 or 3 years now, where they're really upgrading the roads. Um, you'll stop every couple of hours anyway, purely because you have to, because the driver, because he needs his break. So you'll stop and have yeah, you'll have a stop and you can buy some snacks on the way. I don't know. I'll find out for you if you're going to have lunch when you arrive. It may well be that eating on the plane might be easier. Okay. And you'll have dinner at the hotel that night at the one in Ouarzazate. Um, a note on the food there. So your dinner's provided. You'll have water provided as well. But if you want any additional drinks, like you can have alcohol if you want to, if you want a glass of wine or something for that evening, you need to purchase that separately. Okay. So day two, so after breakfast, it'll be the final stage of the journey into the desert. Again, another 4 to 5 hours. And you'll arrive in time for lunch. The camels will be loaded up, and then you'll start your trek into the desert. Okay. And you'll stop overnight at your camp. Trekking distance is approximately 5 kilometers. We always say that very loosely because sometimes it might be a little bit more, sometimes it could well be less. We encourage you not to get fixated by the distance that you're covered because it depends on the heat as well and the level of the group as well and their fitness and the training and everything that they've done. So we say about 5 kilometers on your first day there. Okay, another picture there. Beautiful. Well, I want to go back out there myself now. Okay, so days 3 and 4, so the Monday and Tuesday. So another 2 full days of trekking, covering around about 20 kilometers per day. Okay, I say don't be too hung up on your Garmin's, your Fitbits when it comes to covering distances. And you'll be supported by the local Berber team. It's varied landscape, and you will learn the importance of respecting nature. Temperatures can be high, can be up to 40 degrees. We don't envisage it'll be in that high that time of year, but it will be a real good temperature. Um, Sand dune feels they're tiring. As every step forward is half a step back, but it's worth it for the views going up the dunes. It's not going to be constantly dunes. You'll work on some of the trek, like you can see there on that picture there. There probably will be about half a day when you're on dunes, but it's not constant. But going up and down dunes, it can be really tiring. Okay. Um, so as the trek progresses, you'll learn how the nomadic people of Sahara live, from cooking to sleeping out under the stars and reading the Sahara night sky. So if anybody's into the constellations or anything, it's worth sort of like getting clued up on those so you can try and pinpoint those in the sky as well. So your daily routine. So on your top left-hand side of your view, as you're looking outside of your tent, it will look something like that. Okay, then you'll usually have like a mint type tea as well, quite refreshing. You'll get served a lot of tea out in the desert, but you'll find it is really refreshing. Um, Sometimes they can make it too sweet. If it is too sweet for your taste, let them know and they won't put so much sugar in, or they'll do another pot for you with not quite so much sugar in. Some people like it sweet, some people don't. Okay, breakfast on the top right-hand side there. And then you'll have your morning trek in the middle left side there, stop for lunch. Now, because it does get hot in the desert, you will have probably a good 2 hours stop. So you will stop for a good length of time under some shades, and you'll will chance to take your boots off and get some air to your feet, even have a snooze if you want to as well. You'll have plenty of time for that. So your guides will advise that when you arrive at your lunch stop and on how long it might be. If it's really hot, you might have a little bit longer to stay. Okay. And then you'll set off again for the afternoon, for your afternoon stroll. It's not a stroll, it's a proper trek. So your afternoon trek, and then you'll have dinner of an evening. Well, actually, when you arrive back there, you'll usually sort of met with tea and biscuits as well. So you get a nice sweet biscuit, and you'll get some tea as well before you have your dinner. Okay. And then on the right hand side there, there's you might have to join around the campfire, do a bit of singing and dancing as well. Usually on the second night before you head back to Marrakesh, that's the ideal opportunity then to, if the weather's okay, to do the baking the bread in the sand and then joining in the campfire songs of an evening as well. It's pitch black and you're doing all that and you've got the campfire burning as well. There's nothing beats that. It's really beautiful. Okay, so here's some of your terrain that you might encounter. So your dune fields, obviously, because it is a desert, so we can't take you to the desert and not give you some dunes. So we can promise you some of those. You will see a lot of parched, cracked ground as well. It is very dry out there. They do have some rain, and as you said, we had some rain last year. So you will see some ground that's like this, or dried up riverbeds. So you'll see that. And then you may well see a stream like this as well. When I went last year, there was a bit of a lake that still has some water in, and we was able to cross the stream. It wasn't too deep, so we didn't get too wet. So, but it was actually quite nice to see that because the year before that, when I went out there, we didn't see any water at all. So because they'd had no rain for a year, so it's nice to walk across the stream if you can do. But then you will have a lot of this stony hard ground as well. So this is where it's really important to make sure that your boots are up to shape really. So really good tread on them just to really help you get through that because that can be quite tiring underfoot as well. Okay. So day 5 on the Wednesday. So this is when you're going to head back to Marrakesh and you'll probably feel quite sad about that because the solitude of being out there and it's so quiet and it's just yourselves for company. It's nothing can beat that solitude really. So it's your final part of the trek this morning. So it'll be a short walk from camp to the small village of Ouladris, where you'll say goodbye to your camels and your Berbers and your chef and everybody's helped you out. And then you'll head back to Marrakesh. So you'll do this all in one day, 8 or 9 hour drive or 8 to 9 hour drive, but you will stop for breaks throughout. Um, it may well be, well, you will do because your luggage will be there. No, it won't be. Yes, it will be. Sorry, you have so many different itineraries for this particular trip, you forget what's going on where. So yeah, so your luggage will be at Ouarzazate, so you'll be stopping there anyway, and it's likely you'll have your lunch there too. So you'll get to spend a bit more time there as well. Probably hour and a half, I think you may well have there because it is such a long journey as well. Anyway, we want to try and get you back before it gets too late when you arrive back in Marrakesh. So yeah, so it will be a long journey, but it will be broken up with lots of stops as well. Okay, so you won't feel it quite so much. It does go quite quickly. You'll be exhausted as well anyway. So I love this bit. So this is the project. I love this project. I've been there twice now and hopefully we're going back again in July just for visits. The team are going out there, the different travel teams. So hopefully I'll get to go out there again. So you'll be spending 2 days here. Might get quite emotional about this because this project means quite a lot to me actually. They house about 1,000 people. some of them children as well. Um, they've taken in earthquake survivors. So there are still some people without their homes out there at the moment. So they are now looked after at the projects. A lot of the residents there, probably about 300 of them maybe, they are vulnerable adults. So they are adults, they've got mental health issues, they might have some other issues as well, but their family, for want of a better word, disowns them. They're not part of their family life anymore, so they are on their own. It's really sad. And you will get to see some of those. If you do a tour of the projects, you will get to see some. I noticed that you have a couple of nurses there as well. I think Janet might be a nurse. They've also got like a small medical area there as well, and it's very basic. So if you go into there, you might be quite shocked at how little they have there in terms of like the medical equipment, the drugs that they use. But yeah, it's just it just puts so much into perspective of how lucky we are over here to what they've got over there or what they haven't got over there. So yeah, it's an extraordinary project. And then on the other side as well, which is the bit where you're likely to be helping, there'll be a lot of gardening and decorating involved here. But they also take in street kids, so homeless kids. They've got nowhere to go, so they take those in. Bear with. And they train them in a trade. And it's very sort of like very male female. It's very split. So the females, it's like makeup and hairdressing. It's all it's all the stereotypical stuff. And then with the young lads, it's like electrical plumbing. So they teach them up in this trade, so that when they hit 18, I think it's 18 over there, they've then got something that they can go into when they finally leave the project. The adults that are there who are not part of the earthquake, so the vulnerable adults, they stay there for the rest of their life. There's no opportunity for them to move on to anywhere else. So yeah, so it's an amazing project. It really is. That's a team this from 2 years ago, this team. That's a team I took over there 2 years ago. Claire doing some decorating. It's quite funny because where they decorated that bit there, they painted on like the outside of the wall and you can still see the drips where it all dripped down, and they haven't painted over them or anything. I really thought they might have done, but they hadn't done. That's amazing. Yeah, and last year I took a group over there. It's a children's hospice, and we had 3 families, and they were all able to plant a tree on behalf of their loved one. So that was amazing. So yeah, so it's yeah, there could be a lot of planting, bit of weeding out there as well, but it's so worthwhile. And then each evening, because you've got an extra 2 nights there, you can get to explore Marrakesh. It is very vibrant, it's very bright, it's very noisy. And that might be one of the things that will strike you when you've come back from the solitude of the desert, and then suddenly you're sort of like faced with all this noise and dancing and singing, and so it can be quite overwhelming. So just be prepared for that. But it is an extraordinary place. So if you haven't been to Marrakesh before, it's well worth going into the souks and yeah, experiencing haggling as well. So if you've got somebody in a group who's a good haggler, take them with you, because you can drive the prices down, but just within moderation. There you go. And then day 8, so sadly you'll be leaving. So you'll have a bit of time because your flight's not till 1:55. So you'll probably won't need to be at the airport till about 11:30, 12. So you'll have a little bit of time in the morning so you can explore Marrakesh again. Have a bit of a pot around in the morning, to do what you want to do really. So yes, your Marrakesh, your flight from Marrakesh at 1:55, and then you'll land at Gatwick at 17:35. Okay, so what to expect? So I shall read this out. So adventure travel involves an element of the unexpected, so do not assume that standards will be the same as you are used to at home. They will be very different to what you're used to over here. Remote areas are sometimes unpredictable, be it because of group pace, weather conditions, local bureaucracy, or other factors, and itineraries may be altered to allow for this. So your guides will work with yourselves and with Julie, and if they feel that they need, for whatever reason, the trek route needs to be changed, then they'll do that, but they'll do that within the comfort of the whole group. So for you to get the most out of your challenge, it's important that you are flexible, positive, and eager to take on all the challenges that arise. And a smile always helps. And then any questions? Right, I shall stop sharing now, I think. I can figure out how to. Oh, there we go. Oh, stop share. Stop share. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing.
I've just got a question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to get you all back and stop sharing.
Okay.
That's okay. Ask away.
Okay. So, can we bring, because I know other people go on different things, some nurses have gone to Uganda, etc. Are we allowed to bring stuff with us to help the project, like medical supplies or anything like that?
I think not medical supplies, but I can ask that question because we have had groups take some stuff out there before, and I can't figure out how to stop sharing on this blooming thing.
Yeah.
I think there are limits on, you know, how much ibuprofen and things like that you can take out if you risk it looking like you're transporting drugs, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking more of like maybe, you know, if they had things like pads and different things like that that they needed, and you know those sorts of things really. Yeah,
That's a nice idea. Perhaps we can find out that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would. I was trying to figure. Am I still sharing?
Yeah, but it's okay. It's
Well, I can't see any buttons to do to do anything now. Oh, it's a bit embarrassing. Oh, there we
And
go. Oh, it's
I
over
have
that side. That's why. It's on the other screen. There we go. Now I'm back to normal. Okay, right.
lovely.
So,
I've
right.
also got a question regarding the hotel.
Yeah.
Can Jan and I share a hotel together? We weren't too sure about the situation there. Will it be double rooms or single occupancy, or what way?
Sorry,
What's the
what's your
situation?
name, my love?
Maureen Fitzpatrick.
There you go. It may well be that your room's sharing already, but I can ask that question, or I'll put you down for that. I'm not sure if the rooms have been allocated yet. So yeah, I could put that down for you.
Because I had said initially in my booking that I was going with my colleagues, Janet and Julie, it was meant to be. So
Oh, okay,
preference would
yeah.
be
I'm
to
sure
share
that's
with
probably
them.
been allocated then,
Yeah,
but I can check that in the morning for you.
lovely,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. And so for the project, it was whether you could take.
Any items to help, like you know, pads and other stuff, really, isn't it? Anything that we can help really with, dressings, bandages, anything like that that
Yeah.
might be useful.
Paracetamol, but again,
Drugs
obviously there's a
probably won't
level.
be,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can ask that question. I know before we've taken some spare clothes out there before, and actually last
Yeah.
year I donated my sleeping bags. I don't have a sleeping bag anymore now. Sleeping bag and another sort of like holder. I donated those bits to them, as a few of us did. So after the earthquake and everything. So but I will ask that question about the medication stuff for you, and I'll get back to you
Lovely.
as soon as
thank
I
you.
know. Okay.
Thank you.
Haven't scared you all, have I? Thank goodness for that.
I've just got a question about the any vaccination.